All right. So I don't know if you saw this, but consumer household debt has hit a new record. I feel like we just do this a
We just
lot.
break
We
through that ceiling every year, I feel, in Canada.
and I think like to so it's up 4.1% from the year before, which is a lot. We would have a normal, I think in a normal economy, as your economy expands, consumers are going to take on more debt. You know, this doesn't mention like the percentage of debt that people are taking on, but it's a lot of young people that are taking on the debt. About 45% of the debt is held by millennial or Gen Z consumers who are teens to early 40s.
So a
So
big
kind of
chunk of that is
a
the
big chunk.
mortgage debt, right?
And, if they held that same debt throughout their lives, that debt is going to be small compared to what their incomes are in 20 years from now. But it will be the next young generation that is coming up that is then going to be the debt holders after that. But 74% of this debt is in mortgages.
Makes
Surprised
sense.
by that number? Does that seem
I mean,
right?
it makes sense. Specifically living in the GTA, it makes sense. But I think that the house prices across Canada are up regardless. So if you're just getting into the housing market, you're buying your first property, you're in the GTA. The minimum debt you're taking on is $400,000. If you have a sizable down payment and you buy the least expensive condo on the market. So when you think about getting into a first home that's priced over $1 million, you're probably taking on 800 plus in debt there. So that makes a lot of sense to me. First-time homebuyers are saddled with a huge burden of debt that eventually, over the next 20 to 30 years, they're going to pay off. So they're going to move out of that category of high debt holders too.
Yeah. So if we take there's 41 million people in Canada, and that's so 2.5 trillion divided over 41 million is $60,975 per person. I mean, obviously there's some younger people that don't have any debt, and there's some older people that don't have any debt. But if you break it down in terms of like, how, so let's even take half of that. Let's say, so if it's half, do you see where I'm going with this? Like at half that, so half those number of people are kind of working age people. I'm totally guessing on this number. Don't,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
that's 122,000 per person.
yeah, that makes sense.
That doesn't seem like a lot to me.
Well, when you break it down per person, yeah, but I don't know what are the home ownership stats in Canada. The amount of
66% of Canadians are homeowners.
of sort of like eligible adults.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, they're going to be the people that hold the most debt.
Yeah. So but rule changes coming in December 15th. I think $2.5 trillion in household debt. I think hold my beer. We're gonna
Yeah,
have
we're going to break through that glass ceiling again.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
especially with the
we're
new
allowing
policy.
more people to take on more debt as of December 15th. So
Almost
I don't,
encouraging it. You know, it provides a glimmer of hope to some people. To increase the amortization for first time home buyers or for insured mortgages. It's a bit worrisome, but I think we still have the stress test that always sort of sets everything up for the future. I don't know
mhm.
if we'll see changes coming to that or not. But that's the reason that we're not in the trouble that the newspaper headlines will say that we are, is that everybody who's renewing into a 5% mortgage or a 4.5% mortgage interest rate, they already qualified at 5.25%
Yeah.
3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Hopefully their income situation has gotten better, has
Yeah.
progressed over
The
those
majority
years.
of people make more money for sure.
Well, I mean, um, employment, or sorry, not employment numbers, but earnings have gone up in
Yeah.
Canada, on average 2.5% per year. They had a big jump in 2020. They went up 10%. So I mean, everything on paper looks better, and they already qualified for their mortgage with a higher balance at a higher interest rate than they're going to have to pay. So
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And
this is the
I talked to
purpose
a
of the
lot
stress
of
test.
I did a lot of first time home buyers 3 to 5 years ago, and talking to them now as their mortgages are coming up for renewal. To a person, they're making more money, and they're making significantly more money. Somebody who is new into the housing market, new into the workforce, kind of an entry level job, 5 years on, some of them are making double what they were before.
Yeah, and I would say, like, just anecdotally off the top, because I was like, we're in this renewal bubble, from 5 years ago, and we're having to have these conversations. And yeah, when we start looking at income, I'd say probably like 25% increase in wages for a lot of these people. So everybody's sentiments are roughly the same. It's like, well, I'm going to have to pay more per month than I did 5 years ago, and that sucks, but okay, we'll deal with it.